Let me take a second. Yes, almost there.
What is your command?
Damn it.
Say the word, everyone.
Well then. Yes, almost there. Let us see. Will only take a second.
Scryer?
Ooh. Well then. Damn it.
I am ready.
We will be swift.
Building completed.
Let us see. Damn it. More complicated than I thought. We will be swift.
I'll be swift.
All right, here we go. Arlen said cast the spell once the treant is weakened.
However, we're supposed to...
Just focus. We can do this.
That's it! Cast the spell! Now!
Did it work?
I think so. Can you hear us?
Taint gone. Roots free. You friends. You saved. Broken roots. Broken branches. Mid-sleep.
I think we should report back to the village now. Arlen and Varden will be thrilled to hear the news.
Fenrir, it's done.
So, the spell worked?
Yes, it was a hard fight, but the treant is cleansed. The corruption seems to be over.
That is remarkable. Ellen must have truly smiled upon you.
Maybe.
Truth be told, it's a bit ironic that it was a human who saved our people from this plague. And I'm just glad it's over.
Don't get your hopes up, Varden. Those humans who took over the Northander camp, the Bane, they'll be back.
Be that as it may, we held our end of the bargain. Will you help us?
Yes. Yes, we will. I've said it before. We are a small people, but you will have our help whenever you need it. We will send you a scryer and a division of our best soldiers and craftsmen to support your cause.
You'll have to give us time, though. A couple of days, maybe. We have to pick up the pieces the corruption left first. Where can we find you?
We've set up camp in a valley in Iskander. We can leave you a map.
Yes, do that. I'd invite you to stay for some days, but I'm assuming you have another matter to attend to.
A lot of them, actually.
Well then, this is goodbye. Thank you again for everything, friend. And may Ellen guide you.
So, this'll be our base, won't it?
I guess so. Yes.
Nihalf's hammer. How about a tad more enthusiasm? We're in the ancient city of the Shapers. If anything, we should feel honored.
Well, let's just hope the city's defenses work better for us than they did for them.
Yes, Corporal? How can I help?
Can you tell me more about your abilities? What's it like to be a Dreamweaver?
Well, I suppose trying to explain that to someone who isn't is like explaining what water feels like to someone who never swam before. It's strange. I can sense things. Emotions, thoughts, but also the echoes of such. If I enter a place where someone has died, I feel that person's sorrow, that person's fear. My mind, my consciousness, it's open. I know that might sound very vague, but it's the best I can do.
Made yourself comfortable?
Comfortable? Believe me, being comfortable is the last thing on my mind right now. Just look at this place. A Shaper city. Don't you feel it too? This sense of divinity?
You seem to be quite excited to be here.
Why, of course I am. Tahar, I'm not sure if you understand how much this means to me. The forgotten city of Mullendeer, the heritage of the Shapers. Since my childhood days, I've dreamed of this. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, thank you. You and the Harbinger have made this dream come true.
Well, all we did was save you from the orcs. You were the one who found the entrance.
You make it sound as if saving me from those greenskins was an easy feat. It wasn't. Anything else I can help you with? If not, I'd like to take another look at that rune LeCain gave us. It's at least as amazing as this place.
So, this is it, isn't it? Our base of operations?
So it seems.
An ancient Shaper city on a quest to find a cure for the bloodburn. And we're working for the purity of light. Sounds crazy if you say it like that. Just some weeks ago, I thought I'd be in Greyfell now, trying to make a fresh start as an innkeep.
Innkeep? You?
Hey, don't laugh. What's wrong with some honest work after years of defiling on the road? Getting up early in the morning, setting the tables, serving mulled wine and stew to tired, weary souls. Just a simple, honest life.
So, you'd leave it all behind? The adventuring?
You know. People always act as if these decisions are final. The only way to find out how much I'd like that kind of life is by taking a chance, isn't it? And if one day I wake up and find myself in need of a change, I can still pack up my things and hit the road again. Upsides of Elven blood. There's plenty of time.
Innkeeping is fun, until you find yourself on your knees at dawn, clearing up the puddles of vomit and beer these tired, weary souls left behind when they were done carousing.
Quite the cynic, aren't you?
For what it's worth, I enjoy your company.
Sure you do. Who else would patch you up after the next monumental battle? Anyway, talk later, shall we? I'm sure you've got battles to prepare.
Tahar, may I help you with something?
What are your thoughts on the Harbinger, Rondar LeCain?
Well, he's my employer. Without him, I wouldn't be on this mission. Or, what do you mean?
I was trying to say, how do you feel about what he stands for? The purity of light, Aeonir's return.
Oh, that. I'm not certain I have an opinion on these matters.
Don't you care who you're working for?
Truth be told, not that much. Making a living as an archaeologist is hard enough as it is. I can't afford to be picky. And in all honesty, aren't LeCain and his fellows just more of the same? There have always been cults who weren't happy with the Guardians and believed they had found the true and only God. There was even that one who believed in a sort of schizophrenic God, who was both the trinity of three different beings and a singular omnipotent God at the same time. However that's supposed to work. Sounds funny when you think about it, but those lads were dead serious.
Does the Harbinger know you feel that way?
No, I guess not, but he doesn't need to know about that, does he?
So, you don't believe in Aeonir's return? In the new world?
No, I don't.
But there's truth to what the Purity claims. The Guardians have been unusually silent.
Yeah, because maybe they finally realized how silly and ungrateful most of their creations are and decided not to bother anymore. What I'm trying to say is, there could be all kinds of reasons why they've withdrawn. And I doubt a bonkers robe-wearing lad such as LeCain knows the answer.
So you think the Purity is harmless?
Of course they are. And like any other fanatic, he and his fellows will go down once people realize his God doesn't have all the answers.
Maybe you're right.
I certainly hope so.
I found some materials. Could you use these to upgrade your armor?
Yeah, wait. What's that? Nihal's hammer. This is amazing. No, more than that. This is phenomenal.
I don't follow. What's so special about this thing?
This thing, as you call it, is part of an artifact. One that the scholars have been writing about for centuries. It might be possible to reconstruct them and that. I can't even begin to imagine what that would entail.
There's something I've been wondering about. How did your cooperation with the Harbinger begin?
Well, that was simple. I was in Everlight at the time, on request of a nobleman. He'd hired me to do some work on an artifact collection of his. One night, a courier contacted me and gave me a letter. The message outlined the mission and the pay, even though the latter was almost irrelevant to me once I realized what it was that Lacane wanted me to find.
Molandir.
Yeah, you know the rest of the story.
How does one make a living as an archaeologist?
Good question. One I usually prefer not to think or talk about. To be honest, it's a tough life. For some obscure reason, only very few scholars take interest in the Shaper or the Hibernian culture, even though there is so much to be found. It's a shame.
Like what? What is there to be found?
What? You mean apart from monumental steel constructs, ghost warriors, and a city full of ancient secrets to be discovered? A lot. But that's another topic.
How do you explain that lack of interest?
Well, what do you think? Ignorance. No matter if it's orcs, elves, dwarves, or humans. We're all terribly bad at learning from the past. Blasted, there's so much to be found, so much to be explored. Not just riches, but the technology, wisdom, and ancient secrets. But no, for some reason, the people with the coin just don't care. The only ones who even try to access this treasure are incompetent amateur treasure hunters, who usually get their heads chopped off by the first defense mechanism they walk into.
True. It's a pity.
Well, I suppose that answers your question. The life of an archaeologist is hard, and there have been times where I questioned if... well, if all the sacrifices I've made were worth it. Yet, here I am now.
I've been meaning to ask you, how does a dwarf end up so far from the Windwall Mountains?
Let's not talk about this now, shall we? Maybe later.
All right, sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No sweat to her. It's fine.
Found out anything new about the rune?
Well, so far all I can say is that what Lacane has given you is indeed a Shaper artifact, as we suspected. Now, I would write all this purity talk of the rune being a gift of Aenir off as religious nonsense if it weren't for the fact that the rune's energy actually interacts with the Godstones, shrines of Aenir.
Which means that the Shapers and Aenir are somehow connected.
Somehow, yes. And I'll find out how.
Goodbye.
Sure.
Wait, aren't you...
Scryer Elion from Leonon. Yes. I'm the Scryer Finrior and Merilith sent to lead the Moorhere troops who'll be supporting your cause. Actually, I was hoping you'd come by. I think we should have a talk, shouldn't we?
You owe me an apology.
That's putting it lightly. Many men and women died that day. And just because of me. Which is another reason why I'm happy they sent me here. It's a chance to make up for what I did. Though that does not mean that your commander, General Noria, didn't also play a role in this. His reputation was well known, even among us.
In any case, with our new allies, we should be able to go look for the stones.
What is it?
I would like to train the elves.
Well, if you have the coin, I might be able to help. Let's see.
Yeah, do you need something? I'm a tad busy.
What exactly is it that fascinates you about the Shapers?
Oh, Tahar, that's quite a topic. I don't mind sharing, but are you sure you want to go there?
I am. Tell me.
All right. Well, where do I start? You see, the Shapers have always fascinated me. They're all over Io. These remnants of a once so glorious civilization. Yet for some reason, so many people are almost oblivious to it. On the one hand, of course, that's very sad. On the other hand, it also makes it a lot more exciting. It's like I'm a treasure hunter, only that everyone else fails to see the treasures around us. Tell me, Tahar, when seeing all of this, don't you sometimes feel like you're exploring a childhood dream? The kind of world the poets and the bards always spoke of?
The Shapers are dangerous. Just think of that Steel Guardian we fought to get in, or the Ghost Watchers. Not what I'd call a childhood dream.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't take away from the wonderment, does it? But this childish fascination was only the spark. The more I studied the Shapers, the more enthralled I became with their culture. Did you know that at the pinnacle of their existence, they ruled over all of Io? A global empire with no one to oppose them.
You seem to consider that a good thing.
Oh, good, bad, the world doesn't work like that. Of course, there are writings that hint at the fact that the Shaper Empire wasn't all rainbows and unicorns, but still it was stable. And it persisted for tens of thousands of years. Can you imagine? All this knowledge, all this art, all this wisdom. Nothing in the Io of today can match that. Nothing. It's like comparing a sea full of secrets with a puddle of muddy water.
And how exactly did their empire come to be? They must have conquered quite a few nations.
They had the liberty of being the first living civilization on our Io, at least as far as we know. That made it easier to maintain peace and stability. Until the end and the dragons.
My father always told me the Shaper Empire relied a lot on slaves.
What? No, that's rubbish. The Shapers had castes, yes, and it's probably the lower castes your father was referring to. But to call these slaves is like calling, say, a tanner who was born outside a royal family a slave, just because he'll never be a king. And even the very lowest caste, the Zalanyur, always had enough to eat, a roof over their heads, and could, without paying a single coin, get themselves healed by a cleric if they needed to. So if you think that's unjust, go ahead. Ask an Everlight beggar which era he'd rather live in. He's not a slave, yes, but in some ways he's worse off.
How do you know all this?
Some of it from writings, some of it's just connecting the dots. I know how many scholars are out there at the universities giving their talks about the inscrutable empire, but it's not nearly as inscrutable as they say. Their problem is they're trying to understand the Shapers by reading books and dusty tablets. That's not how it works. You need to get out there, into the field. And even if it takes years of fruitless digging, eventually you're bound to stumble onto something. Another piece of the mosaic.
Very poetic.
Because it is.
And yet, they died out.
Yeah. Great mystery.
Most scholars think it was the dragons.
They do, but I doubt it. You saw what the Shapers were capable of. Even a race as powerful as the dragons couldn't have wiped them out. And you see the shape this city is in, Tahar. There's no traces of fire and destruction. But regardless of what it was, it doesn't change the fact that the way the current races of this world treat the Shapers is nothing short of pathetic. They were greater than we'll ever be. But instead of studying this greatness, we ignore them. And why? Just because it doesn't fit into our religion, our traditions, or whatever reason they can come up with. Because to many, admitting what a marvel the Shapers truly were would mean admitting that our culture is pale in comparison.
Is our world really that bad?
That depends on your expectations. We could do worse, certainly, but if this is as good as we can get, then I have nothing to feel but pity.
Maybe you're right. There's a lot we could learn from the Shapers.
There is. In any case, I suppose you found your answer, haven't you? This is what fascinates me about the Shapers. They're a reminder of what we could be, If only we wanted to.
I see. Well, thanks for the explanation, Iskrim. I appreciate it.
Corporal? Need anything?
Could you tell me a bit more about your homeland? Finn and Mir?
Well, it's not my homeland anymore, but yeah, shoot.
What role does magic play among elves?
It's everywhere. Magic is considered a gift of Ellen, and it defines your standing in every possible way. We may have talked about that already, but the whole council who runs the country is made up of mages, which is why the Purity will have a hard time finding followers in Finn and Mir, should they ever be naive enough to try.
I doubt that will ever happen. How is human culture different from elven culture?
I assume you mean Nortander from Finn and Mir? There isn't one elven culture, as little as there's just the humans. Generally spoken, though, I wouldn't say they're too different. Especially not compared to the orcs. Life is a lot slower, mainly due to our lifespan, and elves are even more defined by tradition than humans. They revere nature and value tradition and rules above all else, and they are extremely aware of what they say, how they say it, and to whom. Which also makes it very easy to offend an elf. I'm an exception in that regard, but that was something my vagrant years taught me. But then again, not all elves are like that. There are some who care as little about Ellen the White Tree and the traditions as a troll cares about his morning toilet.
Elves have a very long lifespan. What's it like to live for so long?
Hard to say, since I don't know what a human body feels like. As an elf, you simply take it for granted. When I first realized how short a human life is during my travels, I was baffled. I've been on this world for 39 years now, and in the elven world, I'm hardly considered an adult. Here, I'd have delivered my 7th child by now. It's strange. That's the best way to describe it. But you know what I eventually came to realize?
Tell me.
That age doesn't necessarily make you wiser. I've talked to 30-year-old humans who understood more of the world than the ancient seers of Finn and Mir. It's all about experiences.
Interesting. There was something else I wanted to ask.
Sure. What?
This might sound odd, but why did you join me? It was me the Harbinger wanted.
Why are you asking? If you want me to leave, you can just say it. No hard feelings.
No, I just want to understand. You've been putting yourself in a lot of danger for our cause.
I guess so. Well, I hate to disappoint, but I don't think there's a particular reason. As you pointed out in the prison, I'm a fugitive as much as you are, and my best chance of survival was sticking with you.
Tell me a bit about your time on the road. What was it like?
Is that a command, Corporal?
Please?
All right, but I'm afraid there isn't so much to tell. Have you ever been on the road by yourself?
A long time ago, yes.
Well, then you know how wearisome it can get. Sleeping under the stars sounds romantic at first, until you realize that most of the time it's sleeping in the mud, in drizzle. Most of the time, your stomach and your purse are empty, and your feet are full of blisters. And, of course, there's the constant danger. Especially if you're traveling on your own.
Did you ever have a companion?
Some, yeah, but most of it was just temporary. Though there was one I traveled with for longer. Quentin.
How did you meet?
Coincidence. A small town between Finn and Mir and Lar. We played dice together and he cheated. When I called him out on it, he tried to turn tail. But one of the other guests stopped him for me. They wanted to go give him a beating, but I told them to stop. He gave me back my money and we started talking. And believe it or not, we found that we got along quite well.
So you started traveling together? With a thief?
I wouldn't call him that. He was just young and careless. We ended up traveling for almost a year.
What was his story? Where was he headed?
Into the blue, same as me. He had quite an interesting task, but I wouldn't feel comfortable sharing it with you, to be honest. He wouldn't want that.
I see. What was your relationship?
You mean... no, we were just friends. He was way too young for my liking, and I think I was too old for him. We were more like sister and brother.
Huh. So, how did you split up? What happened?
Nothing dramatic. We came by a village and decided to rest there for a while. The roads had become quite dangerous due to the mage wars, and we didn't want to go out unprepared. I did some healing for the villagers, and he helped out the local smith. He liked it, and the smith wanted him as an apprentice, so he stayed. I was surprised and a bit hurt at first, but then I realized it was probably for the better. I still think of him sometimes, though.
Huh. And how did you make a living?
That was the easiest part. I healed people.
With light magic?
Yes and no. It was my magic that mended the wounds, but since mages are often met with suspicion, how shall I say, got a little creative. Frankly put, whenever I treated someone, I gave them a magical potion to drink, which was just water mixed with some harmless herb to give it color. The rest was laying on hands to help the potion's effect, which was pure light magic and how I did the actual healing.
And that worked?
Better than you'd think. People were fighting over my panacea as if I was Ellen incarnate, while cursing the evil defilers who had caused this war. Ironic, isn't it?
Do you miss it sometimes? The vagabond life?
Well, we're still vagabonds somehow, aren't we? But I know what you mean. And yeah, I sometimes do. The wind on my skin, the vastness of the wildlands, and the fact that all you have to think about is the mile ahead of you. It's another world. There was this one night I'll never forget. I had made a camp at a clearing, set up campfire, and I was leaning against a tree, slowly drifting toward sleep. Then, all of a sudden, it started to rain. Not just the usual drizzle, it was bucketing down, drowning everything, the earth, the noise, the plants around me. My first impulse was to jump up, to find shelter, get my things into the dry. But I didn't. Instead, I saw. I don't know how else to put it. All of a sudden, there was this deep sense of peace, as if all my life I had been chasing something without knowing it myself. And in that moment had found it. So I just watched. I sat there and I watched. That feeling lasted until the sun came up. And then I fell asleep. When I woke up, it was gone.
That sounds beautiful.
And a bit traumatic. But yeah, it was beautiful. I've never felt something like that again.
And what do you make of it now?
Truth be told, I don't know. But it changed something. Even though I cannot say what it is. Let me see.
What is it?
I would like to train the elves.
Well, if you have the coin, I might be able to help. Let's see.
they won't stand a chance.
In the shadow of the eponymous mountain lies the wasteland referred to as the Foot of Barga Gor. It is home to the Orcish tribe called the Firewielders, as well as to many unforgiving beasts, from the undead to demons. While most travelers stay away from Barga Gor for this very reason, the Firewielders cherish their homeland's perils. According to Orcish culture, only through constant conflict and danger can a people stay strong and persevere.
All right, here we are. The Foot of Barga Gor.
And you still think this is a good idea?
I don't think we have a choice. We need all the allies we can find.
Yes?
If it isn't the dreaded Corporal, I was just about to go on my own.
Well, you're in luck. It turns out we do need an ally. Troops, to be precise.
I had a feeling. And yes, I can help you, provided you help me first.
That was the deal. What do you want?
Your help in preventing a war.
Preventing? I don't mean to be rude, but aren't your kind usually the ones who start them?
That's what most people think. Let me explain. The leader of our tribe is planning to reignite an old war. The War of the Six Races. In other words, he wants to send this world back into chaos. It's stupid and dangerous. But many of my brethren fail to see that. Krell tells them that our tribe has become weak, and that by invading the Nortander and the Elven Empire, we will teach the world to live in fear of us again, as it should be. What they don't see is that no one would benefit from this war. The Firewielders would be wiped out. That's as sure as the sunrise. And both the humans and the elves would suffer greatly from this. Krell tells them that we'd be honoring the struggle. But we wouldn't. It's the act of a fool.
The struggle?
Ah, right. Sorry. I forgot that I'm talking to a pale skin. The struggle is the core of our culture. At the heart of everything that lives, there's conflict. The wolf hunts the deer runs from the wolf. Without the deer's flesh, the wolf dies. But if there were no wolf, so would the deer. Why? Because without an enemy, it would breed with no constraint. It would procreate until there's no more plants for the deer to eat.
Their peace would be their doom. And it's the same with every being. Where there's no conflict, there's stagnation. And stagnation leads to downfall. This is why there has to be the struggle.
You know this.
Yes.
But we shouldn't discuss this now. All you need to know is that Krell's actions are a threat. Not only to the orcs, but also the other races.
What is this Krell hoping to gain from it, then?
Well, there's two reasons. First of all, the bloodburn.
So the orcs are suffering from it too?
Yes, not as much as you humans do. But there have been outbreaks in some of the tribes. Krell claims that the humans and the elves have manufactured it to wipe us out. Which is why that war would be justified.
That's absurd.
Yes, and he knows it too. But that doesn't stop him from using it to rally the clans behind him nonetheless. And that's the second reason. Krell is a self-obsessed fool. He became High Chieftain with lies and false promises. And people have started to see through that. So now he has no choice but to act.
I see. And what do you intend to do?
Stop him. Orc culture is based on two pillars, strength and wisdom. And I will show him the power of the second one. By allying with a human and defeating Krell, the Firewielders will see that even an unlikely alliance can result in strength.
So you want to fight him?
Challenge him. But since he's a coward, I doubt he'll accept. Which is what you're here for. There's a second plan if the first one fails.
And in return, I'll get troops.
Yes. If I stop Krell, I will have the whole Firewielder tribe behind me. And I'll give you enough Orcish craftsmen and warriors to support your cause.
Agreed. When are you planning to challenge him?
Now. He has agreed to meet me, and I was just about to leave. Ah, one more thing. What's your name?
Tahar.
Good. Then let us be off, Tahar. Krell will meet us northeast from here. What do you want? Watch out. Undead.
Undead. Does this never end?
I'm injured.
They've got one of our heroes!
Come on. Don't die on us now. Come on. Don't die on us now. Whatever's necessary.
Fascinating. Simply fascinating.
Will do.
Fine.
As stupid as their whole damn tribe.
Shut up. He's here.
Let us see.
Gore, what's the meaning of this? Who are these paleskins?
My allies. I'm here to challenge you to a duel, Krell. I will be the new High Chieftain of the Fire Wielders.
I hope this is a joke.
No. You are a danger to our race, and I won't stand by while you drag us into chaos. Once again, I challenge you to a duel, here and now.
Kill them, and feed their corpses to the undead.
I'll keep you shielded.
You read my mind.
All right. Help me!
I'll keep...
Help me! Just as I expected. Bloody coward. Time for our second plan.
Which is...
We'll storm his cow.
His homestead.
Yes, his camp. If he doesn't want to face me like a child of Zarak would, we'll force him to.
Is this really the only way? Can't you, I don't know, talk to him?
About what? His delusion? Believe me, I've tried that for months.
But we can't take on an entire army by ourselves.
I know that, Tahar. But luckily I'm not the only fire wielder with sense left in him. There's a camp of my brethren nearby who've been sympathizing with my cause, and who promise me their support if push comes to shove. Follow me. Who are you? Where's Zargal?
In a better place. You're here to rally against him, aren't you? Good thing I told him that would happen.
Get out of my sight.
Why? Because you think these orcs support your cause? They don't. They only pretend to because Zargal told them to. And seeing who you choose to surround yourself with makes me understand why. Paleskins here at the foot of Barga Gore? Honestly, Gore, how low can you go?
These paleskins will do what all of you are too scared to do. Put an end to the orc who will kill us all, if we don't stop him.
And to all of us, this isn't strength, Gore, this is treason.
Shut your mouth, Talk. Gore has done more for our tribe than any of you.
Really? Can't you see he's using you? He doesn't give a damn about the fate of the Fire Wielders. All he wants is Krell's Kyle for himself. But, as I said, it's not too late to turn back. Think about it. All you'll do is throw away your life for a traitor. Krell will restore our race to its former glory with...
I'm done with talking. Face me, or are you as much of a coward as your leader?
Balrek, you piece of shit!
Kill him, Gore! Tear his bloody guts!
Just die already! Kill the traitor! Take him down! Kill the traitor! Just die already! Kill him, Gore! Tear his bloody guts out!
Scum! It's decided.
Kill him! Kill that traitor! For Gore! For the Fire Welders! No! No.
Bloody fools.
Why did you attack him?
If I hadn't, he would have drawn more on his side.
How can you know that?
I just do. And this piece of shit killed Zargo. He didn't deserve any better.
And what now?
Well, we have what we want. A base of operations. Now this is where you come in. If you remember, I saw what you did in Farlan's Hope. Leading those rosy-cheeked farm boys against the Ash Reavers and winning. That was impressive. Which is why I want your advice. I'm a shaman, not a tactician.
You realize that I know nothing of orc tactics, do you?
Warfare is a worldwide art, Tahar. There's not much to know, apart from our weapons and our traditions. But I'll guide you.
But will your brothers even follow me?
No, but me. And I'll follow your advice. Also, they saw how you can fight. They know you're not a coward.
Fair enough. What's the plan?
Simple. Kill Krell. In theory, we could attack right now. But he'll know we're coming. So we need to think tactics.
I'm all ears.
We need to win the other clans. The Ka, the Nook, and the Kayran. Each of them have their own specialty, which we can use against Krell.
The clans? I thought you were all fire wielders.
We are. But unlike in your kind, a fire wielder isn't just a fire wielder. Every tribe has dozens of clans, different weapons, traditions, sometimes even different languages.
I see. The Kayran, who are they?
Outsiders, who mostly like to keep to themselves. They are extremely religious and devoted to Zarok. If the lands were less harsh on lone wolves, they would have probably formed their own tribe long ago.
However, they are the best hunters the orcs have to offer. They use javelins to attack from a distance.
That could come in handy. Who are the Nock?
The ones I'm most worried about. They are the most vicious and brutal fighters of our tribe, with an almost eerie tolerance for pain. Who, as you can guess, are all for Krell's madness. But I have a friend within their ranks. If we can find him, he might help us win them over.
Who are the Nock?
The ones who, as you...
What about the Car?
They are probably the most civil of the clans. Which is why I think they'll be more easily convinced to follow us. Their fighting style is the most balanced. Air fighters form the core of every ambush.
Understood. So how do we win them over?
There are two ways. Every clan has a champion, just as this one had Zargo. If we beat the champion, they will probably submit to our lead. Some of the clans are loyal to Krell, and will have heard of my treason by now. So they'll probably attack us on sight. In other words, blood will be spilled. Others, such as the Kayran, may listen to reason.
So there's another way other than defeating their champion?
As I said, there may be. We'll need to find out. And Krell won't stand by and watch. It'll be a while, but he'll strike soon enough. We have to be prepared. Finally, before you came, there's been talk of a strange human walking Barga Gore. He had an impressive aura. I don't know if it's worth the time, but you might want to look for him while our clan prepares for battle.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
We're almost out of stone. Building completed.
The golem. Don't let down your guard.
Chop, chop, brother. Let's get this over with. Too much damage.
Prepare yourselves.
We're under attack.
Let's see.
We should be fighting now. These nails are rusty. Get me new ones.
We're under attack. Building completed.
Careful.
Good. Our Cal grows stronger. Very well. Let's make this quick. Will we do?
I'll make it quick.
Let's see. Good.
At your command.
Our Cal grows stronger. Balrak. Blasted weather.